Hey folks, it's time for TWiP Pro Photo Critique number 119. This is TWiP. Hey, welcome back to another TWiP Pro Photo Critique. This is critique number 119. The topic this week was, what was our topic? Transparent. Transparent. Or transparency. Yeah. Troy, did you get a peek at the transparent images in the mix?
I did just now. Just now. So
you looked at them before. Come on.
I did get a chance to look at them. I looked at them, I tried to look at them a little bit more deeply before we go on, and just to kind of get a sense. Like, for example, I have pulled Stephen Sharp's glass into Photoshop to check some balances. So we'll talk about that in a little bit.
I didn't even know you did that. I'm excited to see. To see.
We'll talk about
it. Stephen Sharp just scooted up on the edge of his seat a little bit.
He did. I know.
He's nodding right now. He's nodding and smiling.
Yeah.
Well, cool. This is gonna be a good critique, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say Stephen just pulled that image up on his laptop right now, trying to.
Yes. That's good. I love when you do that. That's really cool. All right. We've got, 12, 13 or so images to go through this week?
Yeah, we had a good turnout.
Yeah, good. And thanks to everyone who submitted. I'm excited to go through. Before, let's foreshadow what next week's topic is going to be for episode 120. You picked it. What is the topic for next week?
I did. It's a spoon. Spoons.
Yes,
I know.
Gag me with a spoon.
Yes. I wanted something. I wanted something a little goofy and a little common and kind of fun. I mean, there's all kinds of designs of spoons. They're reflective. They can be used in all kinds of things, from your tea to your soup to, the kids digging in the sandbox. Big spoons, little spoons.
I like it.
So
I like it.
Yeah,
I challenge you, TWiP community, to get creative with it. Like, I don't want to just see a picture of a spoon. I want to see something interesting, like something that we hadn't thought about. Like, here we go. I know what you're going to submit, Troy. It's going to be a spoon with a sugar cube in it on fire. That's what we're going to see.
No, that's too common. I'm going to have a spoon with a molten pile of metal in there melting. Ooh, I could maybe do that. Maybe today. Maybe I'll do that today.
There you go. Finally a use for all that spare mercury you have hanging around, right?
Oh, gosh. Right.
Don't get it on your skin.
No. Or breathe it.
Or otherwise let it into your body. It could
Right. No mercury exposure during COVID. That's it. We're going to keep that off the list.
Yeah, I know. That's the next thing. All right, cool. Let's dive in. Lots of stuff to talk about today. You ready?
Yeah, of course. Yes. Fantastic.
All right, let's do it. Let me go ahead and share the community. We are now in the photo critique area on TWiP Pro, and looks like the latest image submitted is from our friend Freddie Sedano. Freddie says it's down here. Freddie says, the view from above Avila Beach, my favorite region ever, the central coast of California. The water is transparent. Next time I drive up, I'll actually hike the trail. This is a drone shot for sure. Look at that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's all that kelp, which I love the kelp. I love going up there and photographing the kelp. This is such a neat location to go see if you get into the Central Coast, California. To go to there's a wharf out there that you can photograph from. So it's just a great amount of fun up there. I really love the balance in this image. I love that rock being lower, centered. It gives us that sort of artificial horizon, or, where the kelp is above the rock. Mm-hmm. Feels very landscape-ish.
Yeah, I like it. I like the color of the water, because I didn't even know we had water that color. Fred, did you change the color of that water in Capture One? Because now that we know that you can change the color of things in Capture One, it would be relatively easy to target that color range, right, Troy? And
it would
change it to whatever you want. So I'm wondering if Freddie Sedano made that aquamarine color himself, or was that actually? That does not look like California water right there. It looks more like Florida, or not Florida, but someplace tropical like Hawaii. Or
Right.
like
Yeah, like the Caribbean or something. It on occasion, all up through the coast, up into like San Simeon and that area, you do get this color of water, and I don't know where it comes from. I've photographed it before, but it's not common. But it's really beautiful when it does. Normally, it's very dark.
Bioluminescent. It almost doesn't it? It almost looks like it's bioluminescent. So there may be some. Maybe there's a bunch of little creatures in there that are, glowing like that. I don't know.
I do like it. Yes, I'd love to know, how this one came to be. So.
Yes, for sure.
Other
than
cool
it was a drone shot.
Yeah, well, we can figure that out, right?
Yeah. It's so funny now. I keep, you see like these movies on Netflix or whatever, and they're rife with drone shots now. Like they're just, it's almost like a prerequisite that the opening sequence has to have a drone flyover, for the establishing shot now. It's like, it used to be interesting. It's like, wow, look at that. They hired a helicopter to get this flyover shot. And now it's like, okay, whatever. That's a drone. I can even tell when they're put in reverse, because you know that secret tip about you film like your fly up and then you reverse the video to do the pull out. Right. So I can even tell when they do that. But yeah, it's cool. People using the tools.
Yep. It's everywhere, but it's good. It's a good tool. And someday I'll get a drone that actually flies. So if I could even fly it, can we fly him now? I don't even know.
That's a good topic for a show. We should do a show on that. All right. Michael DeRay's up next. Michael says, I had to go back about 18 years for this one, shot with a Nikon F4S on APX 100 triple exposure. Look at that.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, back in the day, yes, film. Did you go through that era, Troy Miller, in your film exploits where you started doing multiple exposures on a single frame and blocking it off and shooting at night? And, did you ever do that?
I did stuff similar. I never got into the controlled multi-exposure. I always went for like the random multi-exposure. So I'd put the film through like 2 or 3 times. And I would try to be conscious of what I'm photographing. The first time I would photograph something very dark, and the second time through very light, and then the third time through something really, really small and bright. Most of the time it turned out like crap, but every now and then you get a really cool shot. This is the kind of stuff I would.
That statement is the story of photography. Right? Back in the day, most of the time it turned out like crap. Every now and then you get something decent. Right?
Yeah. This is the kind of shot that I would have done in the darkroom. I was really into darkroom manipulation and multi-composites and things like that. And now the photographer who used to do that, his name is escaping me, but I was really into building those things in the darkroom. So I really appreciate the look of this and the intention and knowing it was shot on film, and that's really great.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. You'd have much more control. For these kinds of multiple exposures, you have much more control in a darkroom than you do in camera. But it is fun. I remember the first multiple exposure I ever did was, where was it? It was at Yokota Air Base in Japan. And, I had read this book on special effect photography, and it showed how to do it, right? So I found a tree in the middle of the night, or not in the middle of the night, it was dark outside. I found a tree in a remote location, set the tripod up, posed myself on one side of the tree, took the picture, didn't advance the frame, went to the other side of the tree, of course, with flash on both sides, took the photo, brought it back, and I was like, wow, look at that. I made 2 of me. But fast forward to today, and now you can do that in your phone.
Jerry Yulesman, that was his name.
Jerry Yulesman. Okay.
Yeah, if you look up Jerry Yulesman, the Photoshop I say Photoshop. That's just the darkroom. I know the darkroom composites that this man did was absolutely ahead of his time. I mean, I think it would be hard to do this stuff in Photoshop today, and he did it in the darkroom. So, what
was his name again?
Jerry Jerry Yulesman. Uelsmann.
Jerry Yulesman. Okay.
Yep.
Just Googled him. American photographer. Look at that.
Oh, his work is amazing.
Okay.
And I love it in the sense that it's timeless, just like, Ansel Adams and Edward Weston and so many others that pioneered a look that has transcended time, and I just think that that's wonderful. So I see a lot of that technique in a shot like this right here, where you're, being intentional with the mood and the lighting and the posing and all that.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of his work now. Yeah, definitely. I'm not going to share it, but yeah, definitely check it out, folks that are listening to this. You're right, Troy. Yeah, there's some fantastic work in there. So back to this shot, though.
Yes.
So very good. It's got your border on there, so you automatically like it, right?
Well, it's monochrome, and yeah. I would probably put some effort into Photoshop, and unless you really didn't want to add Photoshop to this image at all, but I would reduce that reflection between the two subjects on the left. Mm-hmm. It's just so hot, it's so bright, and it's overexposed. I would leave a highlight there, but I would just take it down so it wasn't overexposed, which we can do now.
We're kind of losing, and we're losing this. This is probably the last exposure over here, right? Because it's like we're losing our subject a little bit.
Yeah, plus his head is in the shadow, so yeah, we're going to lose the density there, which I like. I appreciate that the center subject is brightest. The outer subjects are a little bit darker, less obvious. Yep. But that highlight becomes an attention grabber.
Yeah, who's really good at these multiplicity things in Photoshop? I interviewed her several years ago for TWiP. Her name is Rebecca Goodlifstadter. And her last name is filled with letters that I can't create on the keyboard. She's an Icelandic photographer. But fantastic. She does a lot of multiplicity shots like this of herself, but she's a pretty woman and, and insanely talented at the art of multiplicity. And you put those two things together and you get dynamite. She does some fantastic work.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I was trying to find it, but I can't even spell it wrong enough for Google.
I could barely say it. She had to teach me over several days how to pronounce her name.
Oh, nice.
Rebekka is her first name. Rebecca Good. Let's see if Google will help me. Goodlifstadter. See if it'll correct me. Oh, I found it. Yeah, it's like. Yeah. Oh my gosh. You see the work? It's amazing, right? I do see
the work. Yeah.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing.
Oh, very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll link to these. Maybe we'll do a multiplicity challenge on TWiP or for a critique.
That'd be a good topic, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I got a +1 on my idea. Let me bring the camera back to me. I had a +1 on my idea to do we supply the raw file and the community does the edit idea. Joshua Sommerfeld, one of the members, mentioned this week, he sent me a message, mentioned that there's another famous Twitch person that's doing photography like that online, and that it might, I was thinking, that would be cool. So I'm curious, folks that are watching this in the community, would you be down for that if we provide you with a raw file and then, just saying have at it and then the winner wins,
Yeah, it's based on the critique of the image post-edit. So really we're critiquing the edit. Yeah, we're critiquing the edit. Yeah.
And your creativity in post-processing. So, kind of like a Pinewood Derby. You remember those? Were you in Boy Scouts?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Pinewood Derby.
No.
Oh, well,
but I do know what they are.
Yeah, they give all the kids get this bag of balsa wood and wheels and nails and and then you have to come back with the car and you race other kids. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So we'll do something similar to that for TWiP.
Yeah, let us know if you'd participate in that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, cool. All right. And moving on from this shot. Thank you, Michael DeRay, for that. Next up is Karin Sweeney. Look at that. Okay, so Karin says, this is an old photo taken with a camera that I don't have anymore. It bricked on me. It's a Canon Ixus. Not too upset that I won it in a prize draw. This was taken between Nelson Mandela Place and George Square in Glasgow. I like the juxtaposition of the old reflected in the new. For the critique, though, its windows are transparent. The windows that are transparent viewed in those that are not. Okay. I'd like to have this shot.
Tongue twister.
That is. This is a. I'd have liked to take this shot head on so the lines would all be straight, but I had to settle for a crop that achieved a balance. If the shot was taken head on, there had been no reflections. It had to be taken at an angle. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I think the angle actually really lends a lot to this particular image. I think it feels more dynamic having that tilt and that lean into it. And I do love the dark lines separating, the buildings. And I like the fact that the left half of the image has a different building in it than the right half. My really only suggestion would be, I think you need to crop down from the top to remove any sky. Maybe in the top right corner, maybe crop right to the beam or something like that to take out any of the sky, because I don't think we need that sky in there. And just maybe even bring the bottom up slightly so that the story is really that center section.
These two rows in the spreadsheet, right?
Yeah, and just tighten up the top and the bottom a little bit, and a little bit more horizontal, or burn them down, or just to bring that focus to the center even more. But I love it. I even love the fact that there's that street light just dead center in the middle of the frame.
I wonder what this would have looked like if, because she said she had to shoot it at an angle in order to get the reflections as they are, which makes 100% sense. But I wonder if in Photoshop you'd use distort or perspective correction to then focus on those two rows of the spreadsheet that you mentioned and square it up. Do you think that would have added to it or taken away?
I don't know. You could totally do that though. It might distort the windows a bit. It'll stretch the windows quite a lot. I don't know. That'd be really interesting to see.
Yeah, because then you'd have your reflection and you'd have sort of the perfect grid in there. If that's what you wanted. This is completely subjective, obviously.
Yeah.
Cool. I like this. I like this too. Yeah, I like the
well
grid.
Done.
I like the reflection of the old buildings kind of in the grid of the new building. It's really cool.
And I think it would also look good. When I first saw this,
I thought Chicago for some reason. She says Glasgow, but I thought there's a lot of old and new juxtapositions like this in Chicago as well.
Yep, definitely. I was going to say, and I know it's going to sound cliche, but I think it would look good in black and white.
Ugh.
Yeah, I really do. No, just go with me on this, and you have to play with it and see. But if you went black and white, the beams are going to become heavier dividers. The building on the right, the lighter building, is really going to pop because it's going to be really the brightest spot. There's going to be no color to distract us. It's really going to change the mood of this photo.
Okay, all right.
Maybe I should do a quick post edit.
You should do a post edit and do a Loom recording and give it to me, or just give us a link and we'll put it in the.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Awesome. All right, Karin Sweeney, thank you.
Beautiful image, Karin.
All right, next shot up is from Armando. Oh, this is cool. He says, at the end of a long day photographing this model on the street, started to rain, and she tries to find protection inside the metro station. I love the colors of this shot.
Oh, I know. Armando always pushes the color, which is it's his style, right? Like we could see an image come through, we could be like, I bet that's Armando's, and that's a good thing, by the way. I'm just saying that is a good thing that it recognizable
it's a style.
Yep,
absolutely. Yeah, it's got a little bit more. I feel like his style has a little bit more saturation and a pinch of clarity in there, just to make it jump off the page a little bit.
Yeah, she looks a little chilly. Like her left arm, there are some goosebumps or something on her left arm. Right, it looks like she's a little. I love the rain. I love looking through the window, her hand on the window. There's the highlights on the right, and that green doesn't excite me. I think that green is very distracting. I might just turn that saturation down a tad. Leave it green. I like the green in there. Yeah, bring those down. And then unfortunately,
would you do that, or would you just crop in a little bit? Or would that be too close to the hand?
You could crop in like half of that space on the right, but you'd still have the highlights and stuff would still be stuck in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But unfortunately, we have this like a fog in the window right over, camera left over her right cheek and
Right
ear.
there, yeah. Which looks like a heart, doesn't it? Looks like a little heart.
It does a little bit. That's the only distracting thing to me. I mean, I would really work that out if this was an image I was going to, keep for a client or a portfolio or something. I would definitely pull that out.
Yeah. Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard to pull that out, right? I mean, it takes some reconstruction to balance, because there's a kind of a harsh line right there, and then it comes back up here.
Yeah.
So, it's just not too much. Like, there's a little bit of clone work to get it out of there.
You can just reduce it. But I love her eyes and that look, and the rain. The rain is such a unique add to this. If this was just a normal window that she was posed like that, it would look cool. But the rain adds so much to it.
Yeah. Yep. I like it.
Good job. Yeah.
Armando's putting on the pressure in the community, man. He's been he's been winning a lot of these lately. All right. The next one is Stephen Scharf. Is this the one that you're going to edit?
I'm not going to edit it.
You're going to edit it. You're going to make some changes and then post it later?
Not that one. Karen's I'll do some edits on. This one, I love this image.
Let me read his quote first, and I'll bring it up. He calls this one Black Line for a critique-themed transparent shot with the specific studio lighting technique known as Black Line, as it creates a black line around glass. Oh, cool. I never even heard of that.
Yeah. Basically using shadows.
Using what?
Yep. You're basically just using shadows, right, to reflect in the glass, or rather not reflect, because glass is just like a lens. Yeah. So the balance in this is fantastic. The color, I just love that bright red. Could be anything, right? Could be red or yellow or green, and it would just work.
Yeah.
The thing that really struck me was it's not perfectly symmetrical in the glass itself. The glass is warped, and I can see that, and I can
right here.
There is a warp there, and this probably has nothing to do with the photographic technique, but it does have something to do with how we view it. Is that the stem has a slight bow in it, and the top of the glass has a slight tilt to the right, and it's ever so slight. I don't know if anybody else sees it or feels it, but I certainly saw it right away. And I mention it not as a negativity, but just as an observation that there are things that we can't control in our subject, so. And maybe, I don't know, I'd be curious to see how you felt about it, but that reflection of the stem underneath the base of the glass, I kind of feel like if you could take that out, then it would.
Yeah, I agree. If I can see leaving it in if there was more of the glass in the reflection, right? So that you knew, it sold it more of this is sitting on a reflective surface and this is the opposite reflection of it. I think if it would sell it harder if there was more of the upside down glass represented. But since it's such a little sliver of it, it's not really adding to the story. It might be detracting a little bit. If you took that out, then it's like, oh, look at this clean glass base sitting on the right surface. But then again, would your brain register that, right? Then are we messing with the brain, saying your brain is going to like, shouldn't there be a reflection underneath that? So yeah, I'd have to see it. We have to see it to see if it makes sense like this or without the upside down stem.
Yeah, I think that when you have a darker surface that an object is sitting on, it feels like a base. It feels like a surface that it's sitting on. If it was just white, if this was shot in white seamless and we didn't have a shadow or something to connect it to Earth, then it becomes very, very uncomfortable. It doesn't feel right. To me, that reflection of that stem is a little confusing, that it's not really part of the image that we need to see.
Yeah.
And
so what are you going to do? What are you going to do to this image?
I'm
Are you
not
going
going
to
to do anything to it. No, I don't need to
Oh.
do anything. It's just the observation that, you could straighten the stem up, and I guess I could do that, and I could free warp it. There's just little tiny deviations in there that your eye can pick up, that I certainly pick up. And I notice, and I wondered if you noticed any of that as well.
Yeah, the rim. Yeah, I noticed the rim. The stem at the bottom. Now that you say it, I get it. And I would do some work there, or at least some experimentation. But the rim, I think, is what I would fix. And then the, looking at this image, looking at it at this size that we're looking at, and presumably people are looking at it on a YouTube player, it's not huge, right? But if this image, this looks like an image that wants to be printed big. If it was big, then those imperfections would start tap dancing, and you'd see them. So
I know
fix that.
It is exceptionally well lit, and compositionally, it's amazing. And I would love to see a series of these, right? Like different colors, or one just like this, and then the next one you might add something to the rim, and then the next one you might add, something to the base and the background. Maybe an appetizer or a shot glass or a thing, and that would be this really piece of fine art. And because it's lit so
the glass itself remains in the same spot in every frame, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking, this would be fun to play with, to do like a triptych or a polyptych, where you have
an octotych,
whatever, you have a bunch of glasses and you use capture one to target that tonal range.
Some kind of tick, yeah.
Yeah, and then you just change the color of that liquid from yellow or golden to red to green to whatever, and like you said, have that, and then have other elements kind of show up to complement the color of the liquid in the glass. Could be cool.
Yeah. And unfortunately, in the stream, in the recording, we're losing some of the most subtle of highlights around the edge of the glass, but they are certainly there. I know that we know that Stephen is a consummate professional in a detail expert.
Like the edges up here. I'm looking at the recording and the actual page here, and there's all kinds of detail in these areas, and they're getting lost in the stream. So
and that's very, very difficult to control. And so, a lot of kudos given for controlling the lighting and the shape and illuminating the glass. It's very difficult to do.
Yeah. Good job, Stephen Scharf. All right. Moving
Bravo.
right along. Zoom the screen out a little bit. Or in. What did I do here? How about we reset the screen?
You broke the internet.
I broke my computer. Let's see. What's going on here? All right, whatever. Show must go on.
That's right. This is what happens.
Yeah. All right. Next shot is James Glenny. James says, Earth's atmosphere is transparent, right? Yes, it is. Canon EOS R 24 to 105 millimeter f4L at 85 millimeter f830 seconds, ISO 100 with a 10-stop ND filter. We are such geeks, man. All that. We are such geeks in this profession. All those numbers, everything I just rattled off makes sense to every single person listening. Very little editing in Capture One. Border added in Affinity. Troy mentioned adding borders with Capture One, but I haven't figured out how yet. Oh, sounds like a challenge, Troy Miller.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe that'll be the second little part of the video I'll make.
Yeah. This will get, again, disclaimer. I'm looking at this in the stream. These colors are really saturated in the recording. They are a couple of levels less saturated on the actual image itself. So
yeah. And I, one of the things I was going to say is I wish that the colors were a little bit more saturated in the image that we're seeing. But again, the original to being posted on the web to us streaming it could have changed as well. So we have to be respectful of that. Compositionally, I really dig this image. I love how the clouds are mimicking the horizon of trees. And we have these layers of tones. We have light, dark, light, dark, light, And those things just make our brain so happy to bounce around in that image and just keep looking for cool things. And
yeah,
it's a visual dessert.
Oh, I like that. That's a book title. That's your next book title.
My first book title.
There you go. First and next, this, what this reminds me of a lot? It reminds me of this artist that I know of that it actually, I have to see if I can find it, but it'll do it in Photoshop as well as in the real world, and just take like a dollop of complementary colors going down like in a vertical row, and then stretch them across the frame using transform, so that then they create this sort of streaked out version of all those complementary colors. And then he uses that as a background for another composition. So this, when I first looked at this, it's really cool. It's a really cool technique. Because then he would get the colors from Adobe Color, the color app that they have online.
Yeah.
You pick complementary sets of colors. You take those colors, you throw them into a document, and then blur them, and then stretch them. And then you end up with, all manner of really cool backgrounds. It's really cool. Wow. I like this shot a lot. I
love this really shot, cool. And I really have nothing, to nitpick about it. I think it's exceptionally well done compositionally. The horizon's perfect. It's lower third. It's level. The clouds are level. It's the water has a little bit of smoothness to it, as does the clouds, and that really adds to the feel. So exceptional. This needs to be printed very big.
Yeah, yep. It's a timeless shot for sure.
It is. Yep.
Love it. James Glenny does it again. All right, next shot up is from Jim Peters, and he calls this one Bleeding Colors, gels on an LED light table. Cool. Let's take a look.
Wow.
Look at that. Yeah, that's cool. Talk about background. See, playing with color. Love it.
Yep, that is really wonderful. I'm trying to see what those little repeating lines are in there. I don't know what that is. See along the left
right here?
Yeah. Yep, the left diagonal. I'm like trying to, how do I describe that? There's like some vertical striations in the coloring in there that I would probably take out. Leave the highlight. I like the highlight. Yep, but just get rid of those tracks.
Yeah, I agree. But I
love the abstract of this. Wow,
this is very abstract. This is cool. Yeah, and again, standalone or as a compositional element for something else.
Right. Well, I could see these as a series. Again, this is one of those type where you want to see, what's the next image look like, and the next image, what did your next version look like?
Yeah. Because your brain is like, show me more. I need more data to form what's going on here.
Right. And if you took an image like this and you flipped it, 180 degrees, it's a completely different image. Mm-hmm. So rotating an image can sometimes really just change the feel, especially how the lines lead in the image and the way that our brain reads the files.
Yep. Very cool. Good.
Beautiful.
All right, Jim Peters, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Nora Zanatis is up next, and Nora says, turquoise truck shot through a rusted screen filled with beads of water. Nice. Shot it with a Coolpix AW100 5mm at 1/400th of a second, f3.9 ISO 125 from Kitchener, Canada. Let's take a look. Wow, that's cool.
That is very cool. So I'm assuming
it's drawing me into it. I'm like, okay, what's going on here?
Right. I love how number 3 is the sharpest, and then the rest just get fuzzier and fuzzier after that. I feel like the top 4 are really the best of the image set, right? I think that the bottom 4 images aren't really adding a lot to the story because they're so abstract. It feels like maybe that's two series, 2 separate things. One is more literal in that you can see what the truck is, and then the other is much more abstract. You could have the same title and just show them separately in different gallery showings, and they would have the same impact.
Would you add a little space to the left here to make it more balanced with the right space there?
I would. I would love it if it had equal spacing all the way around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that's messing with your OCD. I know
it is. It's it is. It's touching the edge. Don't let it touch.
The madness.
Yep.
No, this is a great shot, Nora. This is really cool. I like it. I love the creativity of this. This topic brought out a lot of creativity in people, right? This abstract shots, and this is really cool.
Yeah, yeah, it really did.
Thank you. All right. Speaking of really cool shots, Michael Brown is up next.
Michael
says, I couldn't think of anything else, so how about a transparent water drop? Yes, let's take a look at this transparent.
I like how he says that, like, yes, I just went out and just shot this. No big deal, you know.
Right?
It's nothing.
I had one hand tied behind my back, so I decided to create this amazing piece of art real quick for you guys.
That's right. I had squirrels running up my leg, and no, it's not a big deal. I just shot this for you guys.
Yeah, I do this every day. This is cool. I love that effect, though. The effect that water droplets, because they create that lensing effect, and whatever's behind them, they kind of they're a wide angle lens on that. I love that, and he got it in this one, didn't he?
He did, and I really dig it. I would probably crop it a little bit so that the water droplet would be a little bit more to, say, the upper right third, as opposed to centered horizontally, right? It's not centered vertically, but horizontally it's centered. And I feel like if we bumped it to the right a little bit and cropped it, it would have a little bit better flow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
yeah,
the execution is right on.
I want to see more of the detail in the water droplet. So I feel like looking at it, as a viewer, my brain wants to say, look at that thing in the middle. Okay, what's in there? Oh, it's a reflection. I see the same color range, so it's a reflection or it's a representation of what's behind that. So I want to see more of that and less of the blurry flower in the background. I think we can sell the blurry flower in the background by just having less of it in there and more of the sharp flower in the water droplet. Bring me into that water droplet a little bit more, because that's the hero. That's the subject of the shot, right?
It is absolutely. And if you look right above the water droplet, though, there is some Photoshop work that's been happening, and the striations in the stick are not lining up. Yeah. And that's a telltale sign right away that there's been some work in there. It's a little bit gray, and the lines themselves don't line up.
These guys here. You sure? Because I don't know. You don't think that's part of the stick?
Nope. No, I'm pretty sure that's
you're talking about like right here,
and right. And if you go up a little bit, see that horizontal shadow that goes off to the left edge? Those should line up. That one and the one to the left.
So this.
Yep.
All the way through. Yeah. See, Michael, see how detailed we are, man? That's the level of detail you got to put in here.
He's like, Troy will never notice that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But it's still a cool shot. I like it.
It's incredibly cool.
Yeah, the one shot I saw, Don Komarechka did a shot. He's got a shot where he's got a Canadian maple leaf flag in the background of a bunch of water droplets, and it's represented in all the water droplets. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a tough challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Mark Harris is up next. Thank you, Michael Brown. Mark Harris says, my God, it's full of stars. Only the nerds will know that reference. The Aurora Borealis in Yellowknife, NT Canada. I don't know what NT is. NT Canada, where my wife, also a photographer, and I spent our honeymoon last October. Congratulations. He shot this with a Nikon D850 Zeiss 21mm f2.8 at f2.8, 6 seconds at ISO 6400. Yellowknife is quite an interesting place, even beyond the views of the Aurora. There are many terrific restaurants and art galleries. We also took a drive to see the wild bison along the road. I've actually eaten bison before.
Yeah, I've got nothing for this image. I'm just gonna stare at it. That's all.
It's horrible. It's horrible. Like, it's horrible. No, I'm kidding, man. This is fantastic.
Yeah, it's really quite beautiful, and I love that there's little tiny satellite striations in there you can see. So it's really a great capture of the sky and the color. I love the trees being very, very low in the horizon, and that they go all the way across the bottom, even the lower left. I think that really adds a nice base to the image. It's quite wonderful. It's hard to tell from here if the stars are tack sharp or not. I'm going to assume that they are. They look really sharp. It's probably, it's probably just, the web compressing it a little bit that makes it look that way. But yeah, print it really, really big and put it on your ceiling and just, lay in your patio and stare at it or something.
Just get lost in it. This may be historical because these kinds of shots may become difficult in the coming years when Starlink from Elon Musk gets put in place. They're putting up 60,000 or some, I forget, 6,000. I forget what the number of low Earth orbiting satellites they're putting up to create the global internet access network up there. But a lot of people have been complaining that shots like this will become difficult because there'll always be a bunch of satellites flying by your shot, right? So.
Yeah, and my understanding is that they've changed some of the trajectories and the angles of how the satellites are flying to reduce that. We don't know. I hope that they don't affect the sky. I mean, I think that it's such a beautiful thing for us all to look at. It would be like seeing ads hanging in trees everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I hope not, and I hope that they're conscious of those kind of things.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe it's the price of progress. If you want to bring high-speed, low-latency internet access to, places that never dreamed of having high-speed internet access, that could, is that a healthy trade? We will find out.
Yeah, that's a long conversation.
It is. That is an episode conversation where what are the pluses of having internet access always on, high speed, planet wide, pluses and minuses. And I was talking to someone, they're like, well, that means that, their surveillance drones now can always be on streaming video back to flying grids over populated areas and sending back intel,
That's right. Yeah. But hey, it's so that you can have YouTube and so you can watch a stream.
Exactly. And so people in the Adirondacks can watch Hulu.
Yeah.
We're oversimplifying, obviously, but
yeah. Beautiful image, Mark. Though, thank you for submitting that, and what a great shot. Very, very nice, and that's simplistic. Oh man, that means so much.
We love simplicity. All right, next up is Lamb. Lamb says, my entry for Photo Critique 119, theme transparency. Water is streaming down fast from 40 feet high. Roof eaves of man-made waterfall. Fast shutter speed, 64/100th of a second was used to freeze the fast-flowing water. Tiny drops against the bright morning sun. ASA 1600. ASA, ISO. I never did know the difference. Somebody tell me what the difference between ASA and ISO are besides just the letters being different. F8 Nikon 1V1 10 millimeter lens. He did the post and capture NXD shot from inside the building. Do you know what capture NXD is?
Yeah, that's Nikon's RAW editor.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah. I remember editing weddings with that, and it would crash every 15 images.
Oh.
So that didn't last long.
No comment.
Yeah, it's old software. So I like this image a lot. The vertical abstractness of this with that subject in there and the red and the green contrasting each other is really interesting. I struggle with the sharpness of the water. I know he did that on purpose. Mm-hmm. I feel like it doesn't feel like water. It feels like a wall of beads. Then maybe that's the purpose. Yeah. I wonder if it would have conveyed the sense of water and motion by letting it blur a little bit.
I don't mind that. What I'd rather like if I was to make any adjustments to this image, it would be to take out those words in there, because our brain goes straight to words and text. So, and that's a high frequency area, so it'd be relatively easy to clone those out of there. So I would get that out of there, as well as this little block here. I'd probably clone that out. Again, simplicity, right? And then, compositionally, I don't know if this would have been even possible, but this figure walking through, we've got this break in the water right here. I would have loved to have had that figure kind of right in that break. So
I agree.
He or she's not so obscured, and it kind of looks like, hey, this person has good fortune because water's not falling on them right now.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I like the length and the cropping and the composition and all that, but those few things I think could have pushed it even further. Certainly. And some some burning from the top down would probably help. It feels that the top of the image is certainly brighter than where our subject is. So it's all about the intention of the creator. So it's all about where you want us to look, but the top of the image is certainly brighter. And then we have the subject at the bottom, which becomes secondary and almost hidden. So This is one of those images where, okay, what do I want my viewers to look at? Do I want to distract them and not have them see my subject right away? Or do I want them to focus on this gentleman or this person walking through there? That's how you would change the tone of the brightness within the image. Yeah. Cool shot, though. Thank you, Lamb.
Yeah. Always good, Lamb.
All right. And next up, just a couple more. Peter Levshin is next. Peter shot this with his Sony A7R III 85mm lens at 1.8, and he says different for a change. Let's take a look.
Yeah, it is a little different. One of Peter's images I've never seen. This is great.
What is going on here? Is that water?
Yeah.
That looks so weird. What is happening
I see
in the
that
shot,
as
Troy Miller?
I see that as water that's falling, cascading towards us and falling down, and it's shot at a shutter speed we don't have any blur. So very much like what Lamb was doing with his water droplets, dropping the droplets, this is stopping the water in its flow state with all the reflections and shadows in there.
This almost looks like, depending on where your brain is, this looks horrific, right? It looks like an artist depiction of hell or something with all those bodies in there.
Oh man, I didn't see that until now.
That's what my brain went. It's like, oh no.
What shows have you been watching? Oh my god.
Dude, I've been on a rant lately. So
you've been playing what have you been playing? What's that game?
Wolfenstein on the Nintendo Switch, which I'm going to play. I'm going to do a live stream test and play live at some point and see how that goes, because I'm set up to do it now.
Do it on Twitch.
Joshua Sommerfeld, I can now live stream video games and do a picture-in-a-picture with me in there and talk.
You should. You should totally do that.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it to the community first, and we'll see.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do it during one of the mixers. Make that your video that we see in the grid during the.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. They don't have
member mixers. I'll put on my VR and I'll go walk around Zion or something.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I'm gonna do that.
Wonderful image, Peter. I dig it. It's so abstract and yet it's simple, which is really, really nice. That I don't have a lot to add to this. I think it's great. It's something that you could stare at for a long time and constantly find shapes and moods. And I bet everybody that looked at it is going to see something completely different.
Yeah. Especially me. Like, the Rorschach test of looking at this is me seeing a hellish scene in there. What does that say about my personality or my mindset that I see hell when I look at frozen bodies of water?
Peter, maybe we should print this for the gallery. We should put this in the Pack gallery. I think this might be a cool, long, horizontal metal or acrylic print. I think this would look really amazing.
Yeah, I don't want to see it big. I will avoid that print.
Yeah, no. It'll be there when you come down. It's going to be there.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. It's scary. All right. Peter Lipson, thank you, sir.
Good job.
All right. Last shot from Craig Stampfli. All right. Craig says, pigeonholed for the transparent critique. And FYI, folks, so this shot obviously has some slight nudity in it. And I left it in, for the TWiP members, I left it in photo critique and I didn't move it, or I'm sure Craig didn't want to put it in the not safe for work area because I wanted to critique it. And I wanted this in the critique. But after the critique, I'm moving it to the not safe for work area. And obviously, if you're watching this YouTube video, I've obscured, those bits of skin that are offensive
the offending
to so
bits.
many people. Yeah, because certain parts of epidermis cause bad reactions in people. So we can't have those cells. Those cells should not be seen by other humans. Because no one, all humans and most mammals don't have those. So we can't be showing those.
Oh, my God.
I've obscured them, as you can see in this recording. I've obscured them so as not to offend any people.
Yeah.
But this, I got to say, this is probably my favorite shot of the bunch. He nailed the transparent theme brilliantly, because the water he's shooting through is transparent, and the fabric, the sheer fabric that the woman has obscuring her body is also transparent. So this is really cool. This is very artistic. And even though he's cutting off all of this woman's body in the Troy Miller book of Don't Amputate People, he's cutting off both arms, both legs, and her head from the shoulder up. It still doesn't bother me. It's still a really cool image. I like it.
But he's not really, because if there was a little bit of neck showing and then you cut it off, that would be uncomfortable, right? And the arms are obscured behind the fabric. So it's not like the arm came out from behind the fabric and then got cut off. The fabric is going to the edge, which I think is really, really wonderful. The fabric, to me, is really the hero of this shot. One, because it's a light color, it's wispy, it draws our attention, and then you see the subject behind it. One of my favorite elements in this image is that bit of hair that is coming underneath the water there, because it's the darkest thing in the frame. And it's one of those like secondary hooks that I just think is just a nice character element in this image, and it draws a lot.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
The only
really cool.
The only thing that I would probably do to this image is I would try to, maybe through liquefy or something, is to bring that fabric a little bit more into the lower right hand corner.
And this void down here.
Yeah, if you could probably do it, very subtly without distorting the fabric itself. But luckily, it's fabric, so you can get away with that. There's no body parts in there that we would recognize. I just think that it would be nice if there was some sheer material in there to fill that lower right-hand corner, and then it would create this perfect frame for her upper body, the torso, and that little bit of hair.
Yeah, I agree. I like it though.
I mean,
what do you think? What do you think of the color? This is the classic Craig Stampfli underwater sort of. It's on the cyan side intentionally, and I really like that. What do you think?
I do too. I'm really good with it. This is one of those kind of images that you could do a lot with, and in an editing process, I would experiment with it. Like I would look at it in sepia. I would look at it in some of my special grunge looks just to kind of see where the tones go. I would go dark in the background. I would go light. I think where Craig landed on this is really quite wonderful. It really tells a nice story. It's very beautiful. Yeah, it's very soft, very feminine. It's great.
Very cool.
Bravo.
I like it. Bravo, Craig Stampfli. Good job. I think that's it. That's it for this one. What do you think? Do you have a favorite? My favorite is that one. That one I think has to be, I like it a lot. And not just because it's, got nudity in it. I actually like it.
I'm really torn between Stephen Sharf's, which I realize I was a little picky on, but I really love that. That's very, very difficult to do, and it was executed amazingly, and Craig's. Craig's, I think, wins out a little bit for me. I was actually looking at the images over here as I was talking. Yeah, I think Craig's though. I think Craig's. I don't want to choose. You choose. Yeah.
Choose.
Yeah.
I think
Craig's.
I think I like Craig's. I like the motion in it. And that is not to take away anything from Stephen Scharf's, which is also excellent. And they're all great. But this, I think when you look at it through the lens of the critique topic and the execution and his bravery to submit this image, knowing that it should have been in not safe for work.
Right.
It's really good. I'm happy with my choice of this one being the one.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So he did a really good job. Cool.
Good job,
all
Craig.
Right. We gotta end this one. So Craig Stampfli is the favorite for this episode, for this week's
Yay!
119. Yeah, yay. And next week for episode 120 or critique 120 will be spoons. Right?
Spoons. Yes.
But don't just go take a picture of a spoon out of the kitchen. Be creative with it. Do some composite work. Do something crazy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see how creative you are. I think that's a good flow, right? Where you give people a relatively mundane and obvious topic, like spoons. Obvious. Here's a spoon. Take a picture of it. It's got a reflection of my face in it or something, right? But to see if you can exercise your creative powers to take something as mundane as a spoon and do some art with it and make something world class that you're proud of. So let's see. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah, let's do it. I have full confidence in our community.
As do I.
Yep.
As do I.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll leave it right there. Thank you, Troy Miller, for your
sir.
nitpickery. And you're gonna do some work on some images or at least one image and share that with me so we can put it in the blog post.
Yes. I'll do a quick record here in the next hour or so and get that to you. But yeah, we'll definitely do something.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll get this thing edited and up this evening. So you got a little bit of time. So how are you going to do that? Are you going to record that in Loom? Or are you going to do it in ScreenFlow or what? I'm curious.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Do Loom. I want to get more. You know why I say Loom? Because you and I need to get more familiar with Loom because Loom is integrated with Notion, by the way. Did you know that?
It is? I didn't know that.
You can embed Loom recordings in Notion documents.
Oh, wow. Yes. All right. Everybody's like, what the heck are you guys talking about? So
I know.
We're on this.
Troy, you'll have to do like an introduction to Notion for photographers little walkthrough or something.
Yeah. We'll have to do that.
Yeah, he's like, no.
No, I want to. Yeah. I'm just trying to think, God, what do I I don't know that I'm that good at.
Talk about. Yeah, because to do that, you'd have to have like a whole demo set up because you don't want to expose all your data to the entire world, right? Because Notion is very deep. It like one of the YouTubers that we watch. It is the operating system for your life if you let it, right? So cool.
I'm in.
Buddy.
Yeah, we'll do it. Yep.
All right, you enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be in touch. You and I need to chat a little bit later.
Yes.
But that's it for Critique 119.
Yay! All right, thank you.
All right.
Good job, everybody. All right, bye.
This is TWiP.